ויהיו ימי תרח 5 שנים ו200 שנה וימת תרח בחרן. And the days of Terach were 5 years and 200 years. And Terach died in Haran. And just as an interesting note to start off, Medrash says that they didn't want it to be able to be said about Abraham that he didn't do the mitzvah of Kibud Av V'Em. So the chumash, before it starts in with the travels and adventures and journeys of Abraham, tells us that Terach died.
Where's Noah?
We're getting there. So we're going to digress a little bit. I came across something this Shabbos that I read that really struck me, and I wanted to share that with you as an opening into the discussion of Noah. This is from Parshat Noach, and we hear about the preparation and the service that the priest did and the Kohen Gadol did for Yom Kippur. And we have the idea of these two seirim that were identical, completely identical, and they're placed in front of the sanctuary. And they both have an equal chance of being selected to go to Hashem or to go to Azazel. And one of them, the one that the Goral, the lottery picks for Hashem, is sanctified through Shchita, and his blood is gathered up into the vessels, and he gets an honor that even all the rest of all the korbanot, all the rest of the year don't get, and that's that he gets taken into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, in where the ark is, and gets this ultimate position close to Hashem. Whereas the other one is sent out, not just out of the camp, not just out of the city, but away from all human habitation into the wilderness. And Rabbi Hirsch comments that each one of us is a seir. Each one of us has the power to resist and to be obstinate and to oppose with firmness based on our willpower. And we can use this word willpower and use it for an attachment to Hashem. Or we can be obstinate in the other direction and turn away from Hashem and give into our senses and our sensuality. And then we become unfit to live in a community with other people. And we each have this choice in front of us equally. And that's one of the things that separates us from the organic and the primitive world, the animal and the vegetable and the mineral. They have no sin, but they also have no virtue and no morality. So all of us are placed at the entry to God's sanctuary to decide between Hashem and Azazel, between God and the power of our senses. And we each have this choice to make. And that brings us to Noah. I heard, actually when I was leaving the bus Medrash last week, I ran into someone on the street and I mentioned we were studying Noach, and he said to me, Mashiach, the gematria of Mashiach is 358. And I believe he attributed it to Rabbi Nachman, I'm not 100% sure. And he said that you should read it as 3 times 58, 3 times Noach. Yes. All right, so what's the connection with Noach and 3? The parsha begins, Ela toldot Noach, Noach ish tzadik tamim haya b'dorotav et ha'elokim titalech Noach. Right, so first Noach's name is mentioned 3 times in the pasuk, and he's attributed 3 different qualities. The first is that he's tzaddik, and this is referring to his actions. And he wasn't involved in the petty lawlessness that the whole generation had been involved with. And it says in the Katuv, right, so one example the Midrash gave is a person would bring their food to the market and everybody would steal just a tiny little bit, right? So that not that it amounted to any one thing, but by the end of the day, the farmer had nothing left and nothing to steal. And it was this petty disregard for each other that was described as this Hamas. So that's tzaddik. And we also have the connotation of tzaddik with Yosef on tzaddik. Right, and that means he was able to as we just read in Hirsch, he was able to separate himself from his senses. He didn't, in the sensuality, he didn't give in to Ashes Potiphar, and he got the label of tzaddik because he was able to do this. The second thing attributed to Noach in this pasuk was Chaya Tamim. Sometimes it's translated as perfect, sometimes it's translated as simple. We have Yaakov Ishtam Ohev Yoshevo Alim, that he was a simple man and he sat and learned. But another use of this word in chumash is with the para aduma. It says, Mima asher ein ba mum. A mum, a blemish in a person, is a disgusting midah. And the Torah is testifying to us that all of Noach's midot were complete and they weren't disgusting. He didn't behave this way, which is the exact opposite of the rest of his generation. And it says because of these disgusting midot that they had, ki hishchit kol basar, that all of flesh was destroyed. The third midah, or third appellation or description given over Noach is Eta Elokim hitalef Noach, that he walked with Hashem. And Rabbeinu Bachya says that this is a great achievement. And what it's referring to is the fact that this is only given to someone who was aware. It's mostly in Bekesher to Avodah Zarah, that they were aware of the sun and the stars and the mazalot. And even though they knew that these held sway and these had their own power, they knew that there was a power greater than this, above this, and they chose to follow Hashem, that greater power, rather than following the mazalot and the sun and worshiping the constellations and the heavenly bodies. And it was only if you had this distinction that you were aware of the effect of the zodiac and the sun and moon and the constellation of stars on life, and still chose to overcome that you got this appellation, the hitalech. And it's only given to individuals. It's not given to Klal Yisrael as a group. And the first one who was given this was Enosh. That was the generation where they first started to worship these things. And it was also spoken about Abraham, but here it was spoken about Noah. That he was aware that the zodiac was there, but he still chose to go beyond that and to walk with Hashem. So according to Pshat, according to Rabbeinu Bachya, Noach's name is written 3 times in correspondence with these 3 traits: Tzaddik, Tamim, V'hitalech Noach. Let's talk a little bit more about Noach. So we had Noach was a tzaddik, perfect in his generation. So there's 2 opinions as to that. Some say it was a limited righteousness, that it was only in comparison to the other people in his generation that he was righteous. And everyone in the society around Noach was not displaying any moral integrity whatsoever on many, many levels. And so he had to be a man of uncompromising principles in order to withstand and go against all this pressure that he was feeling from the world around him. And it's very similar to Yosef when he was in Egypt, where he earned the appellation of Yosef the Tzaddik. According to Sanhedrin 108a, the decree to be wiped out by the flood included Noah, despite the fact that he was a tzaddik. But he found chen in the eyes of Hashem. The word chen is the same letters of Noah, but they're in a different order. So they didn't match up completely. It says Noah found favor in the eyes of Hashem, therefore he was saved from the flood. Based on what merit? Based on the merit of his descendants, according to Bereshis Rabbah. So he was, if you look at the first option, he was only a tzaddik in comparison to the ones that lived around him. The other opinion is that Noach was completely righteous. And it wasn't just restricted to the generation before the flood. And actually, Noach, it says if he had lived in the generation of Abraham, he would not have been considered righteous. However, Abraham was 58 years old when Noach passed. And the gematria of Noach was 58. So he did live in the generation of Abraham.
But at that point in his life, was he considered righteous?
Yes.
At the end of his life,
Yes.
he was considered righteous?
Yes. It says, even after the flood, he spoke calmly, he walked with composure, he had complete peace of mind. That's from Arlozoroff. He was fully in sync with the ways and the will of Hashem. And it says generations, so multiple generations. It says, why is the name, this is from Medrash or Ha'afela on Noach. Why was the name of Noach repeated? Because he endured as a tzaddik before the flood as well as after the flood. So he was a tzaddik in Abraham's generation. He overlapped with Abraham. But who was Noach? It's not clear. Was he just a tzaddik before the flood or after? And the answer is both. And what is the meaning of Noach's name? Some translate it as rest, from Noach as rest. And when his father named him Lemech, he said, Yenachamenu, he will give us comfort. Lemech called his name Noach, saying, this one will give us comfort from our work and from the toil of our hands, from the ground that Hashem has cursed. All right, so Chazal tells us that the curses that went into effect when Adam HaRishon sinned came to an end, okay, with Noach. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So these are actually complementary pictures, because if you get relief from your past difficulties, you're getting comfort. And if you have comfort, then you have a rest from your troubles. So Noach was a tzaddik in comparison to both. We also had the idea of nichum avelim, to console. But it's actually, the translation of nachum is not to console, it means to change one's mindset. So Hashem changed his mindset. By Yinachem Hashem, he reconsidered that he had created man on the earth. And it also, he had changed from the attribute of mercy to the attribute of justice. And Noach also had to undergo a change in mindset. And there's some comparisons, just like following the flood, Noach emerged as a newborn from the ark, just like Adam HaRishon originally did. And there are other stories that I'm going to have to take over because of time between Noach and Adam as well. But he didn't repeat everything that was going on at the time of Adam and Chava. They paid attention to the Nachash, which is Noach with a shin added to it. But Noach was a tzaddik because he didn't pay heed to the counsel of evildoers in 3 different generations: the generation of Enosh, the generation of flood, and the generation of the dispersion.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Noach gets a bad rap. Like, he sounds like a great guy.
Yeah. And then very quickly, after Noach, we're moving on to Lech Lecha. There's 2 places in Tanakh where Lech Lecha is used, once at the beginning of the parsha we're about to start, and once at the end of the tests of Abraham, and it correlates to going out, Lech, and also Lecha, for yourself. That the world was given to you, and you had to accomplish your individual goals to attain your whatever achievements you're meant to attain in your life. And usually this is implying achieving a higher and higher set of holiness for yourself throughout the course of your life. So just like coming out of the ark gave Noah a fresh start, leaving Gan Eden gave Adam a fresh start, Abraham also gets a fresh start with Lech Lecha. And one other connotation of Noach is we hear with the korbanot that it's reach michoach leHashem. It's a pleasant aroma from Hashem, which is also the same letters. So both Abraham and Noach were able to infuse the atmosphere around them with the name of Hashem. Noach impacted only his local environment, but Abraham's influence extended across the world. And hopefully we can take the lessons from Noach and from Abraham as we're about to encounter, and we can learn to be talechim Hashem. We're all aware that there's constellations of zodiac. It's not a new idea as it was back in their time. And we have this ability to dedicate ourselves to Hashem and not to Azazel, and to be the seir that gets to come as close as possible into the Holy of Holies with Hashem.
That was the whole Parsha in 15 minutes. That's a fantastic job, really. Just a fantastic job. Hey, Karen. And then what? 2 years. But they're good lessons. They're good, solid lessons. Welcome. Okay, so we're continuing with our study of the laws of Shabbos. Somebody want to watch my time, please? 5 minutes, okay? Somebody just, signal. Okay, so. Judy's not here. No, I know people complain that they didn't start the chumash group till 10:15. So that's not so nice. So that's why I'm really like trying to watch the time a little bit more today and every day. All right. So just a quick review. So we spoke last week about the idea of a siyat pesach or a siyat petach, making an opening. Okay, and we said that applies to an actual structure, like opening up a barrel or something like that. And it also applies to, no one will forget this, in your body, right? Remember the put, never mind. You remember. It's one of those things that's like stays in your mind, yeah. Okay, so just to go on with the idea, okay, so also in that is actually making an opening for a window or a door. Right, that seems kind of logical, right? You have a structure, you decide, let the light in, and you want to, so you just, you open up a wall, and you to begin construction of a window. So that would be the mitzvah d'oraisa, the isur d'oraisa of boneh, and that would be making an opening. Okay, the other example that's given. Is actually, that little slit in a box of matzah, right? Or so you can like fold it back into the. Okay, I mean, I was gonna skip this, kind of thinking that really, do we need to? We do. Oh, thank you. Okay, so first of all, you're not allowed to open a box of cereal. Okay, that's a different halacha. That would be the halacha of Korea, tearing, right? Like first time opening it, right? Exactly. Meaning because the pieces are stuck together, they're glued together. So when you open up, that's the halacha of Korea. But also it has like this little slit that you can then put the tab inside. Everybody, we've grown up with these things. We know these things. Remember there was a time that we didn't have tabs. Oh, how did we live? How did we live? Okay, so if it happens to be that tab is not opened up, you cannot open it up on Shabbos. Okay, listen, it comes up. It comes up. So what? Yeah, we're Cheerios on Sunday. Exactly. Okay, so now we're moving on to another topic in the malachos of boneh. Okay, and this is called it's mashve gumos. Okay.
Some people are saying that you can share as long as you don't share the letters.
No, it depends what kind of a packaging. Like something that's very flimsy, like plastic, flimsy plastic. Basically, you open up, you throw it in the garbage. It's nothing, right? If you're talking about even slightly heavier plastic, you can open it up. It's nothing. This is something else. It's made to be opened and put the thing back in the little tab and reused. So specifically things like cardboard, cereal boxes, matzah boxes. That's what this is talking about. If you must have your Cheerios, cannot live without your Cheerios, then you have to destroy the box. That's.
Yeah. This is put in another book. It's like
Yeah.
and also I never could open it in a different way.
Okay, I'm gonna move on, okay, I'm sorry. Unless you want to tell us what's the, they just say, what is it? Yeah. Share the letters? Wow. Uh-huh. Right. Okay. Okay. All right, so another reason why it's worth it. Another reason why it's worth it to be a Sparty. There you go. And you can eat beans, a lot of good things. Okay, so we're back to mashve gumos. So mashve, it means gumos, first of all, are like holes. How do they try? What? Pits, depressions. Let me see. There you go. Okay, so mashve means leveling. Okay, so everybody knows that when you begin, let's say you're beginning the construction of a house, right? The land goes like this. You don't build the house like that, right? You know, it's just, I keep losing my marbles. I just roll. Okay, so the first action in building is that you have to level the ground. You take care of the ground. This is what is meant by this idea of mashve gumos, and it's a d'oraisa, and we don't do that. Okay, so okay, so that's okay. So now it also applies to during the times of the Gemara and probably later. There were people who did not have tile floors, wooden floors. They had dirt floors. Okay, so those people in Europe, yeah, I mean, it's not so long ago. If you let your floor go for a while, you might get an idea what they're talking. Anyway, so so you could not like sweep up your dirt floor. You couldn't take a broom or do anything that would possibly level the floor. And there were all kinds of restrictions that, just sort of don't really apply to us, but like you can't use marbles on dirt because that's something that you're very likely to, smooth out and make nice and stuff like that. So, okay. Do I have time? One more thing? No more time? Okay, I'm done. I'm done. That is it. That is all. Accept it. Okay. Okay, so thank you all. All right, so just a few announcements. There's actually quite a few announcements, but I'm not going to make them. All right, so again, thank you to Shayna's chumash group, and thank you very much to Shoshana and first great grandchild, second great grandchild. All right, never. It's still big. Come on, it's big. That's big. It's very big. Okay, Shoshana, it's very nice. Okay, I want to welcome all of our new people, lovely new ladies who keep coming, and people who we haven't seen in a while, and who have come back, and visitors from out of town who keep showing up like a bad. No, like. Thank you very much for coming. Oh, look who's here. Okay. All right, all of our what? Chana Tehila is here. Okay. Okay, so all of our regular classes in Mirz Hashem will take place as scheduled, except for Miriam's 10 o'clock class. Miriam is in Yerushalayim, personal event, and everybody, you have an opportunity to try out another class, check out something else, see if there's something that we need. We have many choices, so I know we're all disappointed in your okay. Yeah.